For thousands of years, one name has echoed from the pages of the Bible to ancient engravings, from the prayers of the Jewish people to the devotions of Catholic believers, Michael. But this is no ordinary angel. He does not bring good news like Gabriel. He does not stand guard beside God's throne like the seraphim. Michael is a warrior, the guardian of divine order, the invisible sword, always poised between the heavens and the abyss. Have you ever wondered, why is Michael the only angel ever called Archangel in the Bible? Why is he the one who confronts Satan, not just once, but multiple times, across different eras of sacred history? Is there a hidden meaning behind the name Michael? And why does his name, who is like God, stand as the ultimate challenge to Lucifer? In this video, we will explore what few dare to ask, and what fewer still dare to speak. Is Michael truly the strongest of all angels? And if so, what gives him that strength? Is it divine power, unshakable loyalty, or an ancient mystery older than the Bible itself, buried deep within Hebrew legend and apocalyptic writings? I invite you to step into the borderland between Scripture and the forgotten, where angelic light touches the shadow of rebellion, where Michael is not just a character, but a living symbol of unyielding faith. And by the end of this video, you may come to realize, Michael did not defeat Satan because he was stronger. He defeated Satan because he never left God's side. Part 1, the mystery behind the name Michael. The name Michael is no ordinary name. It's not merely a personal title, it is a question, a challenge. Mikael, in ancient Hebrew, means, who is like God? Not Michael is like God. Not Michael comes from God. But rather, who dares compare to God? The most defiant rebuttal to the very first pride ever recorded in the universe, the pride of Lucifer. Have you ever noticed? Among all the angels mentioned in the Bible, only Michael bears a name that is a rhetorical question. Gabriel, the hero of God. Raphael, God's healing. Uriel, God's light. But Michael's name doesn't describe an action. It doesn't refer to power. It doesn't emphasize love. Michael's name is a denial of the universe's first arrogance. The arrogance of an angel named Lucifer, who once declared, I will ascend to the heavens. I will be like the Most High. And then, the name Michael appears like a divine sword, cutting through that self-exaltation. According to ancient Jewish tradition, a name defines the essence of a being. So when an angel is named Michael, it means he carries within himself a nature that opposes pride. He is the embodiment of absolute loyalty to God. The name Michael is not just an identity. It is a heavenly office. He did not come to represent brute force. He came to preserve the divine order of heaven, where God alone is supreme. In Revelation 12, it is written, and there was war in heaven, Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. Let's pause here. There's a detail most people miss. It wasn't God himself who struck the first blow. It wasn't the entire host of heaven. It was Michael, and those loyal to him. What does this tell us? Michael was not merely a warrior. He was the first to lead the counterattack against rebellion in heaven. He stood up when silence reigned, when other angels hesitated, when the darkness of betrayal had not yet been unmasked. The name, who is like God, was no longer just a question. It became a battle cry. The Bible calls only one being Archangel Michael, despite the existence of countless angels. Why? Jewish scholars believe that when an angel is appointed to protect the people of Israel and to lead celestial warfare, his name is recorded in the Book of the Faithful, which many interpret as the Book of Life. In other words, Michael is the angel God entrusted with the highest responsibility, to protect the redemptive plan from Satan's destruction. You'll find that Michael is not only revered in Christianity. In Judaism, he is the protector of the nation. In Islam, he is the bringer of rain, life from heaven to earth. All three Abrahamic religions agree on this one point. Michael is a symbol of righteousness, loyalty, and fearless courage. A rare agreement. In a world where many biblical figures are debated across religions, Michael is unanimously recognized as a warrior of light. So the question is not, what does his name mean? But rather, why does his power surpass all other angels? Did something happen in the beginning? In the origin of creation, where Michael was chosen from among millions of celestial beings? In the next section, we will dig deeper. Because Michael is not just powerful by design. He is powerful because he was the first to choose not to betray, even when every gate of temptation stood wide open. Part 2, the first war between Michael and Lucifer. Before Adam, before Eve, even before life was breathed into the dust, there was already a war. But it wasn't between man and man. It was between light and darkness, between loyalty and rebellion. And at the center of that war stood Michael and Lucifer. According to Ezekiel 28 and Isaiah 14, Lucifer was once a radiant angel, created in absolute perfection, with musical instruments embedded into his very being, called Son of the Morning. Lucifer was not evil from the beginning. He was beloved by God, granted wisdom, glory, and a position of great honor. But from that very place, his fall began. Lucifer did not want to serve beneath the throne. He wanted to sit upon it. He was no longer content being a creation. He desired to become like the Creator. And in the very heart of the universe, the first spark of pride was born, when Lucifer began spreading the idea of freedom from God's rule. Many angels hesitated. Some were seduced by Lucifer's brilliance. Others remained silent, unsure of what was right or wrong. Heaven stood in a moment of cosmic hesitation, as rebellion spread like a spiritual plague. And then, a voice broke the silence. Not from the throne, not from the seraphim, but from Michael, who is like unto God. It wasn't a debate. It wasn't an accusation. It was a challenge, one that shattered the silence. Michael didn't just side with God. He did something unprecedented in all of creation. He directly confronted Lucifer, the most revered angel of them all. Revelation 12 writes, Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the great dragon was cast down. That old serpent, called the devil and Satan, the one who deceives the whole world. But here's what's strange. There was no matter yet. No swords. No blood. No weapons. This was not a war of flesh. It was a war of essence, of allegiance, of divine authority. Michael didn't fight with strength of muscle. He fought with unwavering loyalty and divine authority granted by God. Lucifer, though beautiful and wise, could not overcome the nature of a fallen angel. Why did Michael win? Not because he was more powerful than Lucifer. In many aspects, Lucifer once outranked him. But Michael never doubted God. Not even once. While Lucifer descended into doubt, Michael held firm with an unshakable conviction. No one is like God. And that conviction became a holy fire that consumed every trace of rebellion. When Michael spoke, a third of the angels fell with Lucifer. Lucifer was cast out. The war ended. But the conflict never truly stopped. Lucifer tried to rise, but was cast down. Michael humbled himself, but was exalted. Lucifer chose rebellion. Michael chose submission. And that is why, even to this day, Michael remains the living symbol of righteousness and victory for the light. Lucifer takes many forms. The fallen angel, the serpent, the dragon. But Michael, he never changes his name, never alters his nature. He remains the guardian. The one who still stands between us and the darkness. Part 3. The times Michael intervened in human history. When the war in heaven ended, one might think the Archangel Michael had completed his mission. But the truth is quite the opposite. That was only the beginning. From the Old Testament to the visions in the book of Revelation, Michael never abandoned humanity. He appeared only a few times, but each time marked a turning point. And when he did appear, it wasn't with a gentle light, but with a thunderclap. A warning sign that humanity's survival was at stake. 1. Michael and the dispute over Moses' body, a hidden mystery. In the book of Jude, a short letter often overlooked, there is a detail most preachers ignore. Verse 9 says, "But Michael the archangel, when he disputed with the devil and argued about the body of Moses, did not dare pronounce against him a railing judgment, but said, 'The Lord rebuke you.'" A single verse. Yet it holds an enormous mystery. Why would Satan want Moses' body? And why would God send Michael himself to stop him? Some scholars believe that if Satan had obtained Moses' body, the greatest leader of Israel, he could have turned it into an object of worship, created a false god, and led God's people into idolatry. Michael understood that, and he would not allow it. But even more astonishing, Michael did not rebuke Satan in his own name. Even though he was an archangel, he still said, "The Lord rebuke you." No pride. No reliance on his own authority. And that is precisely why he was stronger than the devil. 2. Michael and the survival of Israel. In the book of Daniel, chapters 10 and 12, Michael is described as the great prince who stands guard over the sons of your people. When Daniel fasted and prayed for revelation, an angel was sent to him, but was blocked for 21 days by the Prince of Persia, a dark power on a national scale. And it was Michael who came to break through. This detail reveals a terrifying truth. Spiritual warfare doesn't only happen in heaven. It happens in the heart of kingdoms, where angels and dark powers at the national level wrestle over the fate of nations. Michael isn't just a warrior. He's the commander tasked with guarding the destiny of the chosen people. And in Daniel 12, a prophecy says, "At that time Michael shall stand up, and there shall be a time of distress such as has not happened since nations began." In other words, when Michael shows up, time is running out. 3. Michael, the one who cast Satan from heaven, Revelation 12. The book of Revelation, chapter 12, paints a terrifying scene. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. Once again, Michael did not shy away from battle. He expelled Satan from the heavenly realm, sealed the gate of light, and cast him to the earth, where he knows that his time is short. This wasn't the first battle. It was the final act of a war that had simmered long before Genesis. And Michael was the one who slammed the door shut, marking the irreversible downfall of the rebel angel. 4. Michael, his presence in the lives of believers today. Today, many think of Michael as merely an ancient symbol. But, is that really true? For centuries, believers have prayed for Michael's protection against unseen forces. And many testimonies record strange dreams, near-death escapes, followed by accounts saying, "I saw a man of light, with a sword, standing between me and the darkness." Is it possible that Michael still intervenes? No longer with dramatic appearances as in ancient times, but silently standing guard, protecting those who choose to stand with God. So what is Michael's true strength? Not massive wings, not a flaming sword, not mystical power, but a heart that never turns away from God. An angel who seeks no glory for himself, only that the name of the Lord be exalted. And that is the secret of invincible strength. Part 4, Michael in the End Times, the last time the angel draws his sword. When the final darkness descends upon the earth, and the last seals of Revelation are broken, heaven will fall silent for half an hour. A strange silence, more terrifying than any trumpet blast or peal of thunder ever heard. And in that moment, Michael, the warrior angel of God, will rise for the final time. 1. The sign of Michael in the last days. In Daniel 12, the prophet foresaw a terrifying time. At that time Michael shall arise, the great prince who stands watch over your people. There shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation. No longer just a symbol. No longer the angel who prevented Satan from taking Moses' body, or who rescued a messenger from Persia. Michael will appear openly, when the world enters the final phase of God's wrath. Some Jewish scholars believe Michael is not only the guardian of ancient Israel, but the angel of all faithful humanity in the tribulation era. 2. When Satan is released, the final battle comes. Revelation 20 describes a strange vision. After 1,000 years of being bound, Satan will be released once again. And he will gather the nations of Gog and Magog from the four corners of the earth, numbering like the sand of the sea, to surround the camp of the saints. One last time, evil will challenge God. And one last time, Michael will be called by name. Though Revelation does not explicitly name him in this chapter, ancient texts like the Apocalypse of Abraham and the Ascension of Isaiah suggest Michael will be the one who binds Satan, casts him into the lake of fire and brimstone, and declares the end of all rebellion. 3. The final sword, not to kill, but to divide. There's a subtle yet profound detail few notice. Michael is a warrior angel, but he never kills anyone in Scripture. Unlike the angel of death in Egypt. Unlike the flaming sword at Eden's gate. Michael fights, but his goal is not destruction, but distinction. He comes to intercept, to intervene, to divide light from darkness. And in the end times, his sword will divide all of humanity into two. Those who remain faithful to God, and those who follow the beast, its mark, and its system. 4. The final mystery, is Michael just an angel, or something greater? This is where non-mainstream theological theories emerge. Some believe Michael is merely a high-ranking angel, nothing more. But several early Christian scholars, like John Wesley and Matthew Henry, once suggested Michael may be a pre-incarnate appearance of Christ, the commander of heaven's armies. Of course, this is controversial. In Orthodox theology, no angel is equal to the Son of God. But let's step back and look at it metaphorically. Michael's name means, who is like God. He fights for justice but never judges on his own. He submits entirely and absolutely to God. Whoever he is, he represents the very thing Satan could never accept. Submission, humility, and unconditional loyalty. And because of that, he becomes the most powerful symbol in the spiritual realm. 5. When Michael rises for the final time, whose side will you be on? Michael's presence isn't just for ancient times. It's a warning for today. Because if the angel is preparing to draw his sword one last time, then you and I are living in the prelude to the end. When evil no longer hides. When truth is labeled as hate. When the mark of the beast is legalized through comfort and control. Will you be among those Michael protects? Or will you be the one he divides? This is no longer a mysterious tale. It's a choice that is approaching. Very soon. Part 5. What truly makes Michael the strongest angel? Let's set aside the iconic image for a moment. A radiant angel with blazing white wings, wielding a flaming sword, standing triumphantly over the shadow of Satan. That image is glorious, majestic, powerful. But Michael's true strength doesn't lie in his wings, or his sword. It doesn't come from the light that surrounds him, nor from the authority to subdue hell itself. It lies in something far more difficult. Absolute faithfulness to God. 1. Michael never acted on his own will, and that is his greatest power. Throughout the entire Bible, you'll never find Michael speaking from his own opinion. No debates. No complaints. No personal decisions. Even when confronting Satan, the once radiant angel turned rebel, Michael didn't curse him. Instead, he said, "The Lord rebuke you." Jude 1. This small detail reveals a profound truth. Michael isn't powerful because he dominates the forces of darkness, but because he never steps outside the authority of God. 2. Michael's strength is tied to his mission, not his rank. Unlike the seraphim who stand around the throne, or the cherubim who guard sacred places, Michael only appears when the world is on the brink of chaos. He is a warrior angel, not to display power, but to carry out God's will at the precise moment it's needed. Every time he shows up, it marks a boundary between order and collapse. Michael doesn't fight to prove himself. He fights to preserve the divine plan from falling apart. 3. Michael is the antithesis of Lucifer. Lucifer was once a glorious angel, beautiful, wise, shining like the morning star. But he fell because he desired to be like the Most High. From the brightest heights, he plunged into the darkest depths. And on the opposite side of that fall, Michael stands. Not because he is Lucifer's equal in power, but because he represents everything Lucifer rejected: submission, reverence, humility, unquestioning obedience. Michael's name, who is like God, is a permanent protest against Lucifer's pride. 4. Michael's power is a message for today's world. We live in an age that celebrates self-will, personal strength, and independence. And that's exactly why Michael feels strange, even threatening. Because he doesn't represent personal empowerment. He represents something much harder. A soul that knows its origin, and willingly bows before its creator. Michael doesn't argue with the devil. He doesn't defend himself. He doesn't build a brand out of his name. He simply obeys. And that obedience makes him unshakable. 5. You may never meet Michael, but you will have to choose his side, or stand against it. As the final days approach, you won't need to see the angel to know he's moving. Michael doesn't need to walk into your life to be real, because you're already living in his battlefield. Right now. You don't need to carry a sword. You just need to remain faithful to God in a world that's drifting away from him. You don't need supernatural strength. You just need to refuse the mark of the beast, the lies, and the seductive darkness. Because in the end, Michael's war is also your war. And that's why Michael is the strongest angel. Not because he overpowers the others, but because he has nothing to prove. His power lies in complete surrender. In a universe where every other being, even the fallen ones, chase after their own will. And perhaps that surrender is the only strength that can truly defeat Satan. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the mystery of Michael, the warrior of the Lord. Follow Veil of Mystery to uncover what the Bible doesn't always explain, but has never denied.